Most men never pass level 1 of psychological warfare, and most don't even know they're being played. Stop pretending the world is fair. It's not. Every day you're surrounded by predators. They don't attack with fists. They attack with words, with silence, with subtle pressure that bends your will without you noticing. This isn't random. It's strategy. It's manipulation dressed as normal conversation. Psychological warfare has 5 levels, 5 escalating layers of control that exploit your emotions, your loyalty, even your morality. Miss them, and you'll spend your life as someone else's pawn, but not you. Because once I show you these tactics, you can never unsee them. You'll recognize every power play, every hidden dagger, every mask. Most people remain blind. But blindness is a choice, and ignorance is the exact weakness manipulators feed on. Ask yourself, why do some people walk into a room and command it, while others get ignored, dismissed, humiliated? It's not charisma. It's not luck. It's psychological warfare. Machiavelli warned us. Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. Deception is not an accident. It's the first weapon of control. Level 1 begins the moment someone tests your reality. A subtle insult disguised as humor. A request framed as no big deal, but loaded with hidden obligations. A compliment with invisible hooks attached. This is where emotional exploitation starts. The goal isn't to win a battle. It's to measure your defenses. If you flinch, if you justify, if you explain yourself, they've marked you. You've just lost level 1. Here's the brutal truth. Most men never make it past this point. They spend their lives defending themselves from accusations, laughing off subtle disrespect, and explaining away someone else's behavior. They think they're keeping the peace, but in reality, they're being conditioned to obey, conditioned to doubt themselves, conditioned to hand over power without a fight. And once you lose level 1, the game escalates. The traps get sharper, the stakes get higher, and your freedom shrinks with every step. The next level is where the battlefield shifts from words to emotions, where silence cuts deeper than insults, where affection turns into a weapon, where your very sense of self gets rewritten by someone else's hand. Are you ready to see level 2? Because once you step into level 2, love, loyalty, and guilt will never feel the same again. Level 2 of psychological warfare is emotional entanglement. This is where the hooks go in deep. It's not about logic anymore. It's about twisting your feelings into chains. Ever felt guilty saying no? Ever apologized for things that weren't your fault? That's no accident. It's engineered. Manipulators weaponize your emotions. They turn kindness into obligation. They turn loyalty into a leash. They turn love into control. This is the silent stage of psychological warfare. No one raises their voice here. Instead, they raise doubts. They leave you second-guessing yourself. They make you believe resistance equals betrayal. Gaslighting thrives in level 2. The more you question reality, the deeper they win. A toxic partner says you're too sensitive. A boss whispers you should be grateful you even have this job. A friend guilt trips you. After everything I've done for you, every word is a calculated strike. Every pause is a weapon. This is emotional exploitation at its finest. You're not fighting facts, you're fighting your own feelings. Most people fold here. They confuse being agreeable with being strong. They think silence keeps the peace. But silence only surrenders the battlefield. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. When someone controls how you feel, they command you without speaking. That's the essence of level 2. Mind games wrapped in affection. Power disguised as care. Here's the dangerous part. Emotional exploitation doesn't look like war. It looks like intimacy. It feels like love. It disguises itself as friendship, mentorship, loyalty, and that's why it's so effective. Most men never recognize it until it's too late, until their confidence is shattered, until they can't trust their own judgment, until they mistake their captor's hand for protection. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll notice how guilt is deployed like a sniper rifle, how love is rationed like currency, how silence punishes louder than words. If you've ever wondered why you stayed in a toxic relationship or tolerated disrespect at work, the answer is simple. You lost at level 2, and when you lose here, you don't just lose battles. You lose yourself. Your identity gets rewritten. Your values get swapped for someone else's agenda. You become a shadow of who you were. But this is only the second level. And the predators who master this game are just getting started, because the next stage isn't about feelings. It's about narratives, about rewriting reality itself, about controlling not just how you feel, but what you believe. Level 3 is where reality bends, and if you can't see through the illusion, you'll never escape. Sign of reality, they own you. Most people crack here, because fighting lies takes energy, and constant defense wears you down. So eventually, you stop fighting, and that's the goal. The manipulator doesn't want your agreement. They want your surrender. Machiavelli warned of this centuries ago. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Translation: truth is flexible, and those who control the narrative control the outcome. Level 3 is psychological quicksand. The more you fight, the deeper you sink, because every counter-argument just gives them more material to twist. Watch closely how this works. They deny what they just said. Even if you heard it, they change timelines of events, shifting blame onto you. They create strawman, twisting your words into absurdity, then attacking that instead. They constantly move the goalposts, so you never win. Eventually, you start questioning not just their story, but your own memory, your own judgment, your own sanity. And once you doubt yourself, they've won. This isn't an argument anymore. It's mind control. You are no longer living in reality. You are living in their reality. This is why some people stay trapped in toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, or manipulative groups. It's not weakness. It's warfare. And here's the bitter truth. Most men never escape level 3. They accept the illusion because fighting feels impossible. They confuse exhaustion with agreement. And slowly, their will breaks. But if you survive this stage, if you resist, then you'll see the next level, where it's not about reality anymore. It's about control of others. turning pawns into weapons. And you might already be on that battlefield without realizing it, because level 4 is where manipulators weaponize armies of people against you. Level 4 of psychological warfare is proxy control. This is where manipulators stop fighting you directly. They build an army. At this stage, you're no longer dealing with one person. You're dealing with a network. A toxic boss who isolates you at work. A narcissistic partner who turns mutual friends against you. A rival who quietly poisons your reputation. They weaponize people as tools. They turn colleagues into spies. They turn friends into informants. They turn your own support system into a cage. This is no accident. It's strategy. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must know well how to disguise his intentions, and to be a great feigner and dissembler." Level 4 is about making you fight on multiple fronts until you collapse. Instead of confronting you, they shape opinions. Instead of attacking you, they let others do it. Instead of dirtying their hands, they orchestrate the scene. Think of how smear campaigns work. Think of how rumors travel faster than facts. Think of how subtle narratives get repeated by multiple mouths until they sound like truth. This isn't simple gossip. It's psychological triangulation, a strategy of isolation and discrediting. Here's how it unfolds. They plant doubts about you and others. They feed you misinformation about others to spark conflict. They present themselves as the reasonable mediator, while secretly fueling division. And you're left defending yourself to people who don't even know the real story. Every explanation makes you look guiltier. Every reaction feeds their narrative. And the more you fight, the more you appear unstable. This is why narcissists love triangulation. They create chaos and watch from a distance. They weaponize sympathy, pity, even your own allies. It's a chessboard, and you're surrounded by pawns you once trusted. Most men never realize they're in level 4 until they're already isolated. Their reputation is gone. Their allies have turned. And they're left wondering how it all fell apart so fast. But here's the truth. You can survive level 4 if you stop playing defense. Stop trying to clear your name with everyone. Stop explaining yourself to people who've already been turned. Start going silent. Start observing. Start documenting. The manipulator thrives on your reactions. Starve them of it. Because this stage isn't about truth, it's about optics. And the one who controls the frame wins the war. But even this isn't the final stage. Level 5 is the end game, where manipulation becomes self-sustaining, where the system runs even when the manipulator steps back. And once you see level 5, you'll understand why most people never break free. Level 5 isn't a tactic. It's a complete takeover of your mind. Level 5 of psychological warfare is internalized control. This is where the manipulator no longer has to act. You control yourself for them. Every tactic from the previous levels had one goal: to plant a new operating system inside your mind. By level 5, that program runs automatically. You censor your own speech before they can. You doubt your own thoughts before they're challenged. You anticipate their reactions and adjust your behavior without being told. This is the psychological equivalent of self-policing. The prison door stays closed even when the guard is gone. Ever left a toxic relationship but still heard their voice in your head? Ever left a job but still felt guilty taking time off at a new one? That's level 5. The war has moved inside. Here's the sinister genius. At this stage, manipulation becomes invisible. You think you're making your own choices, but your beliefs, fears, and impulses were installed by someone else. It's not gaslighting anymore. It's programming. Machiavelli hinted at this centuries ago. Men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Translation: take someone's external power and they'll recover. Take their internal compass and they'll never find their way back. Level 5 creates automatic compliance. You apologize before you're blamed. You obey without instruction. You sabotage your own success to avoid invisible punishment. Most men never break free. They don't even realize they're still serving a master who isn't there anymore. This is why victims of narcissists keep repeating the same patterns with new partners. This is why employees leave toxic workplaces, but still act like they're under surveillance. This is why people stay small, even when no one's actively holding them down. Level 5 is psychological colonization. Your mind has been conquered, and until you reclaim it, no amount of external freedom matters. But here's the hidden advantage. Once you understand level 5, you can reverse it. You can strip out the program. You can rebuild your own operating system. And when you do, you become immune to the lower levels. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop waiting for permission. You stop mistaking fear for respect. But this isn't easy. It requires you to face uncomfortable truths about your own conditioning, to recognize how much of your behavior wasn't yours to begin with, and that leads us to the final reveal. Because psychological warfare doesn't just happen to you. It can also be used by you ethically or not. The final part of this video will show you how to detect, dismantle, and if necessary, deploy these tactics with conscious intent. Because once you understand the mechanics of power, you decide how to use them. You've now seen all 5 levels of psychological warfare. Most people never even recognize level 1. You've walked through every layer, and you're still here. That makes you dangerous. The real secret isn't just spotting these tactics. It's deciding what you'll do with them, because knowledge without application changes nothing. And power unused is power lost. At this point, you have 2 paths. The first is to retreat back into comfort, to tell yourself this was interesting but keep playing by the old rules. That's what most people do, and manipulators love them for it. The second path is to act, to strip out every program someone else installed in your mind, to rebuild your own code, and to use these principles consciously, to defend yourself, to protect your boundaries, to build influence without apology. Using psychological tactics isn't automatically evil. Machiavelli never wrote about cruelty for sport. He wrote about realism, about seeing human nature without illusions, about playing the game that's already being played, instead of pretending it, ISN single quotes T. If you don't learn the rules, you will always be ruled. So how do you start? First, audit your environment. Who tests your reality? Who feeds you guilt? Who controls your narrative? Who tries to isolate you? Who lives rent-free in your head? Second, reclaim your standards. Stop explaining yourself to people who've shown bad faith. Stop apologizing for boundaries. Stop waiting for permission. Third, practice the ethical use of power. Set clear consequences. Frame your own narratives. Build alliances intentionally. Lead without begging for approval. You're not trying to become a villain. You're trying to stop being prey. You're stepping off the chessboard and into the role of player. Most men never reach this point. They keep giving respect to people who haven't earned it. They keep waiting for fate to hand them what they want. They keep calling weakness virtue, but not you. Because if you've made it to the end of this video, you're already different. You're already waking up. Now it's time to signal that publicly. Identity is power. Words are weapons. So use them. Drop this line in the comments right now. I choose power over passivity. Say it and mean it. This isn't just an affirmation. It's a declaration that you see the game and you're ready to play it. Because the truth is simple. Good things don't come to those who wait. Good things come to those who take them. And from this point forward, you take them. The game has already begun. The only question left is, what role will you play?